guys, I am basically making this video today um, to talk about my journey with COVID, the worst about it, and just whatever else comes to my mind. When the pandemic first started, when I really started paying attention to it and knowing that it was really serious, I would see videos about like people would be in the hospitals and they would really like be scaring me because a lot of them were having like breathing problems. They were on like breathing machines, and it was just really bad. They really showed the hardest moments of COVID for them. One thing that I really want to get out the way first is the fact that COVID is different person to person. How it affects you can be completely different than how it affects somebody else for many different reasons. I'm not an expert. I don't really know why. Immune systems are probably a big part of it. Um, but yeah, so when I was watching other people's journeys, I was really scared. Like, oh my God, this virus is so deadly. It's almost impossible to beat it. Like I was thinking the worst of it from what the media was showing, what I was seeing, and what I was hearing. My experience was not as extreme, and I'll take you back to when I found out I was exposed. So, um, I'm a very family oriented person. Throughout this entire process, my family and I have pretty much quarantined together. Just us, no outsiders, anything like that. Just us quarantining together for the most part. Um, but recently, as we know, places are starting to open up. People are going places. Different things are happening. Even throughout the process of things opening, I still pretty much only was around my family other than me going to work. So recently, about a week ago, as usual, I was at my relative's house with the family. As I mentioned, we all been pretty much quarantining together. Um, I found out that just relatives were sick in general. They didn't know if they had COVID or not. They hadn't gotten tested or anything like that. They just were sick with the symptoms, fever, um, just, the basic common symptoms. So that was on Friday that I found out that my family members were sick. And so they decided to go and get tested on Saturday. They did the rapid testing, which with rapid you find out as soon as 15 minutes or as long as like an hour or a couple of hours. So they found out that two of them were actually positive. I want to remind you that on Friday we were together. So Saturday, two of them tested positive for COVID, one adult, one child. On like late on Saturday, or I want to say maybe Sunday-ish, I developed a cough. Just that quick. This is how quick this process really went. No exaggeration. This is exactly how it went. Um, Friday, I found out relatives were sick. Saturday, relatives went and got tested. Two of them tested positive. Either later Saturday or early on Sunday, I developed a cough. Just a simple dry cough. Usually, when the seasons change, I do catch a cold. I get sick really easily. I have never been to the hospital and like had a doctor tell me that my immune system is low. However, I've just kind of diagnosed myself just because I get sick really easily. I work in childcare, so every time children in the daycare would get sick, I would get sick automatically. So I just pretty much can tell that my immune system isn't the strongest because I get sick. I've had hand, foot, and mouth twice. I catch colds maybe 6 times a year. Um, so going back to the situation, so Sunday-ish, I developed a dry cough. So after I developed a dry cough, I didn't really become super worried because for one, I know I catch colds easily, and it was just a cough, just a basic cough. No fevers, no nothing, just a cough. I get headaches on a regular. I do have a history of migraines where I used to take medication for migraines, so headaches would come on a regular anyway. So that was another symptom as well. I was having headaches. Um, and I actually had a headache for about 2 days. That would not leave. I would wake up and still have that headache. And so we called around on Sunday to try and get tested as soon as possible because we knew that we had been exposed. Monday was coming. I went with children, and my sister works at a bank. So we wanted to get tested as soon as possible before we go to work, knowing that we had been exposed, which really, if I would have went to work regardless, they would have sent me home for exposure, whether I got tested or not. So we were told on Sunday we couldn't get tested because the testing site had actually just stopped doing the test. Um, so we went on Monday to get tested, myself and my two sisters. We went and got tested and that was the rapid testing. On Monday, when we got our results, my test results said negative. Although I was having a cough, trying to think, I think that was the only symptom I would have. I was having a cough and that headache that I had had for 2 days. I want to say that was it. Oh yeah, I had like on by Monday I had started like getting nasal congestion, like my nose was stopped up, and that was it. So I was having symptoms, but I tested negative. So I called my job right away, told them I was exposed. So just because once again I was exposed, I still couldn't go to work anyways. As the days progressed and went on, I developed more symptoms each day. Each day there was something different. Mind you, I was already having coughs, which started as a dry cough. And then I was having a headache. The headache would not go away, it was constant, but it didn't really alarm me too much because I have a history of headaches anyway. Um, but then the nasal congestion started maybe like that Tuesday. And then let's see, after my nose began being stopped up, that was just I just thought like, okay, I'm getting sick. Okay, I really may have gotten the virus and just tested too soon. On Wednesday, my my sense of smell started to leave. It was really faint. I could smell my food, but my nose was stopped up anyway, so I knew it was going to be hard to like taste food and stuff. By Thursday, I couldn't smell. Taste was pretty much gone. And guys, I want to just pause to say, out of my entire experience, out of every symptom I had, including the headaches, losing my smell, which ultimately led to losing my sense of taste, was the worst part for me. It caused me to be really emotional. I don't know if it's because I just was hungry and really wanted to eat, but I was emotional throughout the process. Um, and it was just horrible. Not being able to smell anything, that was the worst part for me. I think I cried 2 days because I couldn't smell, so I just didn't want to eat. So I was literally living off of peanuts, lemons. I would drink lemon juice, grapefruit, and trying to drink water. And that was it. I didn't want to really eat anything. I couldn't smell, so I'm like, what's the point of eating? I can't even smell my food. So I was so frustrated. And then I started also eating soup. I'm not a big soup eater, so that was depressing for me because I don't even like soup. So I was trying to eat soup as much as possible. My sister was like, okay, just eat some noodles or something. I love noodles, so I did go and get some noodles. Mind you, this entire time, my test has shown that I was negative. However, with each day, I was building a new symptom. So now my taste and smell is gone. So I went through the weekend having these symptoms. The cough, now it wasn't a dry cough anymore, but now I started coughing up cold, I guess is what you would call it. So it wasn't a dry cough anymore, but my nose was stopped up. I can't remember. I wasn't really having shortness of breath. However, like when I would lay down to sleep at night, the fact that my nose was stopped up, it was hard to breathe laying down trying to sleep. So that was also very frustrating for me. So I would say the symptoms really just reminded me of an amplified cold. Um, I never got a fever, no chills or anything like that. I had real life cold symptoms. The only thing that made me a little more worried was because it lasted longer than my typical cold. My colds would start out mellow, get really bad, and then stay for about 3 days. Sunday came around again. This is now day 7 where I've been experiencing symptoms, and each day it was just getting worse. By Sunday, I still couldn't smell, couldn't taste, and it was just, I just wasn't feeling good at all. My brother was having a birthday party, and my sister and I, we really wanted to go, but although we had tested negative, we were still both. Um, I was having no symptoms, so so I asked her like, hey, let's do you want to just go get tested again? So of course she said yes. So we went and got tested again on Sunday, which is now 7 days later, a week after we've been exposed. And once we got back, we went to the same clinic. However, this time we didn't do rapid testing. This time we did, I forgot what they call it, but basically it's the test you get when it takes up to 48 hours. They tell you 48 hours, but it could be 24 to 48. And so I was told that this test will be a lot more accurate because it's ran through more tests, and it's just more accurate. So the doctor basically told me, I don't care what your test says. I'm medically diagnosing, or not medically, but I'm clinically diagnosing you as positive because you have all the symptoms. He was like, the testing isn't always as accurate, so I know you've been closely exposed and you have all these symptoms. So even if your test tells me that you're negative, I'm telling you as a doctor that you are positive. So I didn't even really have to wait on my test results, which were supposed to come in within the next 24 to 48 hours. So I called my job again. Originally, I was supposed to quarantine 10 days after being exposed. But I called my job again on Sunday, or on Monday when they opened, which is today. I called my job and I told them that I got tested again, and this time it was positive. Usually, people could return to work 10 days after you're exposed, but my job has a different policy, so I had to quarantine an additional 10 days from when I got the positive test result, which now pushes me to an additional 10 days. So altogether, I will have been off. I want to do the math, but I really don't feel like it. So the original 10 days would have been tomorrow. I think they told me tomorrow or Wednesday. But now I have to be off for an additional 10 days. So, which really, it sucks financially, but I wouldn't want to put someone else at risk of catching the virus. So it's like I understand the protocols and things like that to ensure safety. So I do kind of have shortness of breath trying to say all this because, and even now, today is Monday, so it's been 8 days later since I first started getting symptoms, and 9 days since I was 9 to 10 days since I was exposed, but I'm still having symptoms. My nose is still congested. I still have a cough here and there where I'm coughing up cold. My throat feels kind of weird. No pain. It just feels like it's clogged or something. Um, and when I talk, it is like a little shortness of breath. And try to make sure I'm remembering everything. Um, my voice did change a little bit just because with the nasal congestion. I can smell a little bit now. My smell has started coming back yesterday, very slowly. Only certain things I could smell though, like mocha frappe, like coffee products. I could smell those. I could smell like the tanginess of lemon products, and I was able to eat the peanuts. I could smell it very faintly. And today I still look like I ate noodles again. What else did I eat today? I had grilled chicken, but I topped it with like a lot of lemon to get that lemon twang to it to be able to taste the flavor of it. And I could smell it just a little bit, so it's getting better daily. I heard that loss of taste and smell can linger on for a while as the virus does stay in your system for a while, but it's only contagious or it's only able to be passed along when you're experiencing symptoms, which is what I was told. um, so it's been, like I said, about 10 days since I was originally exposed, and my smell is starting to come back slowly. I'm so thankful for that because, like I said, that was the worst part of it. I was talking to the doctor and I was telling him, like, losing my smell was the worst part of all of this. Like, I'll take the headaches, I'll take it all, but I need to be able to smell my food because it was horrible. But, so throughout this entire process, my takeaway from it and what I want people to know is there is a such thing as testing too soon after exposure. Please do not go and get your test right away within like the first couple of days. When you're even if you're experiencing like a symptom or two, if you get tested right away and it's negative, please do not take that and then still go to work or go to stores or go places where you're exposing other people, because there's a huge chance that you are still positive. I tested too soon, which was I still didn't go places because I kind of figured in the back of my head, like, I probably tested too soon. Um, but please do not make that mistake and test too soon after. Or if you want to get tested right after you're exposed, that's fine. However, if you get a negative test result, don't just take that and run with it because you still might be positive. I got a false negative, it's happening. And I honestly think that that's possibly why the virus is continuously being spread at such a fast rate, because of the false negatives that are being given. So use my experience to learn from it. If you get tested too soon, just beware that you might get a false negative. Um, I got retested a week later. I would not say you have to wait a full week after you're exposed. However, you should wait maybe like 4 days, like within that 4 days, because it'll be more accurate. And honestly, it's really good to get the rapid test, but the rapid test isn't always as accurate. So I would probably even recommend going with the 24 to 48 hour results, because the purpose of you being tested is because you want to know your status and you want it to be your status to be as accurate as possible. So if that means waiting a day or two, just wait it out to make sure you're getting the right results. Um, I I don't feel like throughout the process I didn't feel like I was dying, anything like that. Um, I mean, from the fact that I couldn't really eat like I wanted to or taste my food, yeah, I was dying emotionally. But like I said, everybody's experience is different. Mine was not as extreme, but I can compare mine to people that I know who are also going through it, and my experience was worse than theirs. Um, as I just had more symptoms. So in that sense, I have more symptoms. Um, I know people who got tested, they tested positive. They didn't get like the nasal congestion that I got or the cough, you know. So everybody doesn't have the same symptoms. Everybody's not as extreme. Some people's are more extreme than others. Don't compare your case to somebody else's and then say, "Oh well, I don't have a fever, so I don't have COVID," because that's not how it works. Your symptoms can be completely different. I know someone who only had a fever and that was their one symptom and they were positive. versus me, I never got a fever and I was still positive as well. So, also another thing to take into consideration is with the recovery process, everybody's recovery process is different. Some people's recovery lasts longer than others. Because, I mean, like, for me, it's been, if, let's see, I started symptoms on, I want to say Saturday afternoon ish, going into Sunday. And today is Monday, and I still have symptoms. So, really take it seriously. It's not a good feeling at all. Being sick in general is not a good feeling. Like I'm looking at myself through the camera and like my eyes are still weak. I'm still not 100%, and it's been a full week after, and I'll be reaching my 10-day quarantine mark on Wednesday, which is what the doctor told me. My which is Wednesday is when I could technically go out and be out of quarantine. Depending on how I feel, I may still choose to stay in because it's just better to go off of your symptoms. Um, so just remember that everybody's symptoms are different. For one, recovery is different for everybody, and false negatives are a thing. They are definitely a thing. So don't just go solely based upon your test results because they may not be completely accurate. So wait it out a couple days after you're exposed and then go get tested. Don't try not to go around people when you know that you've been exposed because the virus can be literally in your system just waiting to go to the next person and infect them. And my worst fear, even when I first learned of the virus before I became sick, my worst fear was me getting it and passing it to someone else who couldn't fight it, and they ultimately lose their life from it. And even now, that's a worry of mine because I do have a father who's going through recovery from a major surgery, has stage 4 cancer. My mother almost passed from pneumonia, and her immune system is definitely weak. So that was my fear. That's still my fear. My mother actually tested positive, so that's still a fear, but she's fighting it, and she's recovering as well. When it comes to COVID, please just take full precautions. I know they always say wash your hands, do this, do that, but please just be careful. When you go out in public, wear your mask, especially if you know that you've possibly been exposed, or if you know you have symptoms or you've been sick, even if you feel like you just have a common cold, wear your mask. When you have to cough, even with the mask on, cough away from people, like step back. Give people their 6 to 10 feet, okay? Um, just take all the precautions you can because it is a serious thing. I'm getting through it, I'm fighting it, and it's still not a good feeling for me. And I wouldn't want someone else to go through it, especially if there's a chance that they may not can make it through. And there's always that chance that you can't make it through because you don't know how you're going to react to it. It's a viral infection. There is no cure. There is no medication. There's no antibiotics. There's nothing. You just got to go through it. So follow precautions, listen to the health department, and just be careful.